us do this. That's my new intro song, everybody. Let us do this by.
Let us.
It's sort of like going to like
do
Episcopal
this.
church. It's that sort of. It's like a completely non-celebratory hymn.
Episcopal.
What up, everybody? It's your boy Sean, and he's brought along the General Geno Morasco for a little. This is my fourth one of these fucking things in 3 days, so mazel tov. What's up, Geno?
Yep. What it do?
Oh, Jesus. He's bringing back
Right
the Skip Sheffield.
You know what I've been watching this morning?
Old NXT? I don't know. What?
Jim Rome.
Oh, uh-oh. Talk about bringing it back. I can't handle that. Don't be doing that.
He's on Radio Row for the Super Bowl. Talking. Doing a radio show. It's great.
Is he going to be the new...
Is
he going to be the new voice of UFC?
Is that the rumor?
I thought that was a rumor a couple weeks back that he might replace Goldie, but I don't know. I probably just made that up. Apparently, I'm just making shit up left and right today. So whatever.
What else are you making up today?
I don't know. I don't know. You told me to write about New Day not being on Raw, and now everybody's mad at me. So whatever.
I didn't tell you. But I did say...
Well, I don't care. You're my boss. You're allowed to tell me. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that part.
Well,
You are the editor-in-chief. You suggested some stories. I wrote one of them. I'm not mad about that.
It is an interesting thing that they weren't on the show at all. I mean, it's one of the most important episodes of Raw as far as the ratings will probably be up big. And it's just, you want to clearly establish a lot of what's going on headed into WrestleMania. And if you're not even booked at all creatively, that's kind of interesting.
I think so. I think it's, like I said, I think I floated a bunch of different theories. I know one of them is going to get more traction, but whatever. You're clicking, so I'm winning. I think it's just that they got nothing for anybody in any tag team. The tag champs were supporting players in the women's feud last night. So that tells you how much they view that. I think the other interesting thing is that I think Enzo and Cass have sort of taken New Day's spot. Sort of like if they want if they want a 10-minute promo, if they want a weird KFC commercial about fucking a chicken, they used to go to New Day. Now they're going to Zoe and Cass. And Zoe and Cass just got a boatload of new merchandise too. They got 3 new shirts and a new wig, and those boys are doing well for themselves.
Yeah, it's weird, but it kind of plays into the same shit that we've been talking about as far as Sasha or the women, or so there's not always going to be creative for everybody. It's
True.
A long show, but some people.
It is, but like you said, though, it's kind of surprising that somebody who's been that prominently featured, they've found a way to be on every show for probably a couple of years now. They move a ton of merchandise. They sort of like a lot of us internet types got tired of them, but they were always popping the crowd unless they were bringing out old, guys dressed as old people. But otherwise, they were all, even like that stupid refrigerator box thing, people made noise for it. It's weird that you wouldn't have that. In favor of, say, like the cruiserweights, where like you can actually hear a pin drop literally when Tony Nice comes out to wrestle Mustafa Ali. I know you were asleep for this segment, so you don't even know what I'm talking about.
My opinion about the cruiserweights is widely held, apparently, and people can pretend that they care a lot more than they do, and that's that's a thing, right? Like, there's a lot of this is what gets me, and this is kind of wide ranging in my own life, I guess, is I don't like this glossing over of what the fucking reality of situations really are, and that's a thing that people do. And I get it's a coping mechanism for a lot of people with the way they are about things. So you create this reality for yourself and then it's actually complete and utter bullshit. And you can't find actual fulfillment in your world because of it, because you're not actually addressing what reality is. We do this with wrestling as well. And I see it and it really bothers me. And I think it goes to the stuff like the Reigns stuff, the Undertaker stuff. So here's the reality that people don't want to confront that I'm totally willing to say, and you can hate me for it and think I'm an asshole when sometimes someone being an asshole isn't really being an asshole. They're just saying the truth and you just don't want to hear that. I.e., Reigns and Undertaker is a great idea because you care the most about it. It will make you care and feel in a way that you don't feel about other shit on the card. And the fact that you are so vehemently feeling any which way about it even possibly happening proves this. And you can act like the cruiserweights are a thing all you want. You don't really care. If you did, this is not how this would be going down. Triple H wouldn't be calling it a work in progress in conference calls. They wouldn't be getting 2-minute matches on Raw. The post-match interview with Austin Aries wouldn't be more entertaining than what's going on in the ring. It wouldn't be going down this way. Like, let's all just come together and be really honest with each other and just say the cruiserweights, you don't really care.
Some people do care, though. That's you're painting with a pretty broad brush there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're being a success in any means. I'm not saying that people who only watch Raw give a shit about 205 Live, but there are a lot of people, some of whom work for you, that do watch it and do care. I mean, are they enough to make it a viable business proposition for WWE? That's a debate you can have. But to say that absolutely no one cares that's not you. That's you kind of being a dick, not you spitting harsh truths.
Well, okay, that's a bit extreme. I'm not saying absolutely. There are people who care, but when I speak, I'm speaking more generally. More generally,
I don't know. I haven't seen the people that I've talked to about the cruiserweights that want. I mean, it's more like it's a hope thing, not so much. They're not insisting that everybody loves them. They're saying I'm interested in seeing them succeed, so I'm watching. I don't see this mass of people saying we love the cruiserweights and then not watching. I don't know.
Right, which even that would be indicative of caring. That's what I mean. It's more about apathy. Like, even the people who do
I don't know what that noise is. Trina says that someone is drawing on paper, and it's not me. I hear that noise while you're talking. I don't hear it myself, so I don't know.
Trina says
if
what?
It's me. Trina says it sounds like someone is drawing a caricature on paper because there's a noise. There's like a scratching noise.
Okay, let me.
I just heard it. I don't know.
She
blamed me, but I don't know. It's not me.
I'm not touching anything. I don't think anything's going on. I don't have my normal.
I kind of hear like a crinkling noise. It's probably not it's not like the worst thing in the world. I don't think.
A crinkling noise. Let me readjust.
I don't know. It might be something that I'm doing. I don't really have anything to adjust. This is my normal setup. So
my setup is not.
This is good radio right here. As we're going to troubleshoot a noise that one person told us about for 20 minutes.
Trina told me earlier, she's like, I need the show today. And we're like, of course she listens to it, and it's like, what's that fucking noise? Nothing's going right. No, so what I'm saying is, like, even if right, there's that situation where you say, okay, I don't hear anyone saying they love it so much or they need things to change, whatever. But I feel like that's the passionate response that you do want out of fans, right? I think that denotes how much you care. If you're like, the people who are like, I'm going to cancel this fucking shit, like those people really, really care about what happened. And you don't get that with cruiserweights.
I mean, I'm not arguing your Taker Roman thing, but
I'm just saying. I wish there was anything that made me care on any level, anywhere close to pretty much anything else.
I agree. I mean, like I said, I don't think I don't see the picture you're painting of cruiserweight supporters. That's not what I haven't seen that anywhere. I see people who are like, I wish this would work, but it's not. I haven't seen people who are like, this is the greatest thing and everyone loves it, and you guys just aren't. I don't see that. I don't see that sort of ignoring it.
I guess I guess what I'm saying is, like, it's more like people care, but let's not act like you care more than you do. How about that? Like, if it went away,
okay. I'm not disagreeing, but I don't see anybody saying I don't, like I said, yeah. Okay.
I think if the cruiserweights completely disappeared, 12 people would notice and they just kind of shrug.
No, the people would, the 12 people who notice would continue to watch them on Flow Slam. I mean, that's, I don't see anybody. I don't know. Sure. Okay. I don't know. You're like, I'm going to speak truth to power. And I just don't know what you're not like taking. I think you're saying what everybody's saying at this point. I don't know.
Well, it's more like it's more of a response to even me, right? So it doesn't matter. Like, this doesn't matter.
Well, none of it matters.
Yeah, they do. The cruiserweights do matter. They really don't, though. It's a waste of time. Like you can just not watch and it's fine. And then you do get those. You're not doing it. You're level-headed about it, but that is a response that happens. And it's like, I hate to be the bearer of fucking the bad news here, or what. I said I'm not truth to power, but it's more like that's the reality. They sit on their hands. No one responds to anything these fuckers are doing in any arena, anywhere. Like one arena when they were doing a tournament for all the people who watch NXT, the super diehards, but those can't be the people that you cater your product to, because your business will die because there just aren't enough of those people.
Right.
So
they're not catering their product to them. I mean, they're
right.
offering
They're not.
one of several things. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you win then. You're right. We're all wrong. What's next?
Who's we all?
I don't know. That what you were like. You were like, some people call me an asshole, but I'm gonna just tell it like it is.
I'm telling the truth, baby. That's it.
All right. So I'm saying you win. We have been told the truth by Geno. So let's go.
I'm not mean and shitty for saying the cruiserweights are lame. They are. It's lame.
No, I didn't know. I don't think anybody said you were mean and shitty about it either. But
that's funny. That's funny. Is I actually kind of dug the Neville stuff, like the delusional dude who's like really super over the top delusional.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not just. He's like, we don't shake hands. Were you not aware? I said I'm a king, so you have to actually get on your knee and bow to me. And then he's like, he turns his back and he like real quick says into the mic, "You also don't turn your back on your king." Like, dude, you're taking this way too seriously, way too far.
It's kind of the same shit Charlotte says, but it just sounds better when Neville does it. I don't know. But yeah, well, Rich Swann is also not a good promo, so we've got that problem. All these guys are. I think you could make people care about this a little bit more if anybody else could talk as well as Neville does. If anybody else had a character that was half as good as Neville's.
And Neville can't even talk that well.
No, I mean, but he's come a long way. I mean, that's the benefit of actually spending time at the Performance Center, I guess. At least for that guy, it was.
I do like the idea of it in the sense of like, if you're going to do a character that is like that's doing the king thing, because that never works, right? Like I can't remember. I guess Jerry the King Lawler, but it wasn't like, there's it's tied to that sort of the characteristics of that, right? So like they do, the King of the Ring, and they make them wear the fucking thing, and they just generally act better than their opponents and things like that. Like I think it never you don't get over with that, Bad News Barrett was great, and they made him King Barrett, and they just died of death every week. And I think I don't know, maybe this is how you do it, right? You just kind of go, you go too far. You have the dude. Yeah.
And with no actual, like, at least Booker got a crowd. Like Neville's there's not even like any, he's made this all up. There's no royalty, there's no crown, there's no throne. This is all in his head.
The crown is the belt, you see. Like, no, this is your.
No, that's a purple thing. That's some purple thing you got there.
That's some like weird accessory.
That is a regal color, though. I believe purple. I don't know. Maybe I don't.
Yeah,
I'm reaching.
But I do think that's kind of cool. Like he's just because if you're gonna do it, you need to go to those extremes. Like to the point, like he was legitimately offended that he turned his back on his king. Like, not because it's like you disrespected me, but like were you not? I just said I was the king. You can't turn your back on me.
I have been talking about this for like a month now. I mean, come on. This is not news to you, Rich.
You need to get with the program now, and then gets his fucking ass kicked, and it's like, and then he's like backing away, and like, I can't believe he just beat up his king. Like, I don't know. That's kind of dumb, but interesting to me. It makes me chuckle, I guess.
Well, the other thing that with the cruiserweights is that I don't even think WWE cares that much. Like they didn't for the first time since that show started, they didn't bother to announce a match for tonight. There's maybe it's gone up now, but when I looked this morning, there was still no preview for it on WWE.com. It's just like Vince is going to decide which little guys are going to fight at 9:45 tonight, and that's what's going to happen. And that's not a good sign.
Is it actually a live show?
Yeah, it happens immediately after SmackDown.
Right after SmackDown? Oh man, that's
yep.
So it's really
after they duct tape the ropes, of course. But yeah,
is that how they get them purple?
Yep, that's according to live reports. There's like 4 guys run out and wrap tape around the ropes.
That's really it. They just haul ass.
Yep.
Man, how'd you like to be one of those guys? What if you fuck up? He like
I
trip
don't
and
know.
fall, and they're like, "Fuck, we're getting ready to come back from this promo. Get that guy out of there. He's fired." Like they fucking fire a guy because he fucked up the purple tape. That is so stupid. What a
I mean, I'm sure
stupid
that's not their only job. I mean, I'm sure that's like, yeah.
tape guy
They
for
have
cruiserweights.
other responsibilities. I don't know. That's like, well, that's like in Japanese wrestling. That probably is like some 12-year-old kid's job. Like, you're tape boy, and if you fuck up tape boy, then you'll never main event to Tokyo Dome.
You're fucking grounded. Go to your room. Which seems like the kind of thing Vince would do to his employees anyway.
Yeah, and he doesn't realize he's not allowed to send his employees to their rooms.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't send them to their room?
Vince, I don't have a room. I live like 6 states over.
I don't sleep because you make me work 24/7.
I'm a 32-year-old man. So what happened on this show that's noteworthy other than cruiserweights?
Joe.
Samoa Joe. Did you get equally as tired as me of all the, they wanted Joe at number 30. And Vince gave him a Samoan named Joe.
Oh, the Samoan you want versus the Samoan you get. No, yeah, whatever.
Man, I got really tired of those. I was the first time I saw it, I was like, damn, I wish I'd thought of that. Then the second time, I was like, yeah, it's cute. And then fast forward 5 minutes, and it was the 678,000th time.
Yeah.
Please.
I also got quickly tired last night, even though I take full responsibility because I used it in my recap, but I got tired of everyone saying, like, aren't you glad you didn't get Joe at 30 now after he debuted last night? It's like, okay. Everyone realized that as soon as it happened. We don't have to keep saying it 24 hours later.
Some of the same people who were like, oh my God, I'm tired of WWE. And then he debuts the next day and they're like, see, they had a plan.
Well, this is, I know Kane and I talked about it the week you were out sick. I mean, this is like, and I say this to myself as much as anything. We always have to remember that this is a fucking marathon, not a sprint. It is not. There is no end, no final episode of Raw ever that we know of. Yep. So
it's not like today because they didn't get there today, and that's the same thing with New Day, right? They weren't on TV today, but that's okay. There's a billion episodes to come.
Yep. I mean, we have to, and part of it is it's our job to pick that shit apart. So it's like, I mean, I have to remind myself of that because it's also my job to try to get people worked up by saying, oh my God, they didn't do this. So, but yeah, I'm not even saying there's a plan in place, but sometimes shit works out. I mean, I think there was a plan in place for Joe, obviously, but.
So yeah, and it's funny to me again that this you get that like I'm gonna sit on my fucking high horse for this one because I was the one who was like the Rumble was dope as fuck. They pulled it off perfectly. Didn't need that shit. It was the right. That's what we said that right after. They didn't need to do it.
Oh yeah, I agreed. Yeah, I mean, I still think the Rumble was okay and not great, but I didn't think they didn't need to put Joe there. And
yeah, we said that before he debuted. It didn't need to be like it was like it's clear at this point that it was the right way to go about it, and they didn't need to do that and all that stuff. So it's like the people who are like, oh, they had a plan. So whatever, it's like I don't need to hear that. But
yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's not an interesting point,
right? But I did think it was super fucking dope how it was all executed. Still don't know how they're going to get to Triple H to Rollins. Or
I guess, I mean, that's the interesting thing. I mean, I do think, I mean, your mind does immediately turn to like, so is Joe this is Joe's big debut and then he's losing at Fastlane as a stepping stone to Triple H?
Yep. Sure looks like it.
So, I really liked the Joe reveal. I think they played that off perfectly. Even all the stuff with tying in a little bit of NXT, and I thought Triple H's promo, it rambled a little bit at the beginning, but then once he got to the this notion of I'm trying to be a good guy, I'm trying to be the creator.
I love that.
I thought that was great. Agreed. I wasn't so sold on the well, you got hurt and came crying to me thing. That was kind of weird. Yeah. But there was a night of weird promos because Seth also basically threatened some preteen girls. So it was kind of weird, but it all worked out. So there you go. Yeah. That's WWE in a nutshell. It was really weird and all over the place, but the end was dope.
A lot of things to really Seth did threaten children, I believe.
He definitely did. Yep. I mean, it was an implied threat. He might just scare. I mean, I'm
not sure.
I doubt that they
It was-
actually
it
open
was
the door.
slick.
I mean, they're millionaires, right? They have people that open doors. So I don't think like little Sally McMahon Levesque is actually opening the door to strangers. So I think they probably have a plan in place to deal with that.
It felt like a very slick wording to where it's like you could like it's an implied threat, but like he could also weasel his way out and go, I didn't imply anything. I just said what happens when your kids answer and I'm there looking for your husband, Ken. I don't know like what happens when your kids answer the door or something like that. And it's like, what are you trying to say here? Like there's more to the sentence and he just didn't say what was left in the sentence. And like I put it on Twitter and people are like, I'm thinking pedigree to an 8-year-old. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I hear when I say when he does, like I will pedigree your kids. And Big E tweeted, we always support the captain. With the twist of Kofi going, we will fight your children. So Rollins not only is like totally cool with doing it, but he's got a group of 3 black men who are totally on board with helping out, which is like, this is great. Just 4 people are going to show up at Triple H. To me, that sounds awesome. But the idea of Triple H of like, like he's got a daughter named like Aurora. So like Aurora opens the door. Yeah. And there's Seth Rollins and Big E and Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston being like, we got a bone to pick with you, Aurora. Like, you're gonna need to come outside real quick. Like that tickles me for some reason. I'm a psycho too, I guess. But the thing is her dad, which how comfortable are we with her being in the care of a man who went out on Raw and was like, guys, I'm trying real hard not to be the utter and complete manipulative, selfish psychopath I am deep down within me. I'm trying to just work a normal job and not literally murder everyone who looks at me cross. I'm trying. It's like it was like a babyface promo almost, wasn't it? Like he was like, yeah. You should love that I'm trying to better myself. Yes,
and he's trying. It's interesting though because it ties into he's not just trying to better himself. He's trying to better wrestling for all of us. He's doing it for us. He's trying to be a better man, not for his children, for you, the wrestling fan. So that's weird.
It's totally God. There's so many layers of weirdness to that. Yeah, that he really did kind of do that. Like I'm doing this for you. But you can clearly see through that. But like at the same time, can you? Because he gets credit for fucking everything. And Vince gets all the blame, so it's this like weird ass little like gray area. So you don't really. I mean, I watched that and was like, so Seth's threatening small children, and Triple H is like a psycho, a raging psycho who like wants credit for shit, even though he kind of maybe really doesn't deserve it. And now he's gonna like trick the dude who I'm supposed to like into getting his ass whooped by this new dude who's clearly a psycho and has no qualms about hiding it, and that's his whole identity.
He's the destroyer. So,
who the fuck am I supposed to be cheering for here? I guess Seth. But
it's like when you watch, it's like if Godzilla and, Rodan or whatever, one of the other monsters fight. You're just rooting for the fight. It doesn't really matter. There's good and bad to all of these monsters, but they're still monsters, and they're going to destroy everything around them. But we're not actually the Japanese people on the ground. So it's all good.
Just Godzilla and the other one.
Yeah, I don't know. Mothra's the one I know, but I don't really think Seth or none of them really look like a Mothra.
Yeah, they don't really fit the bill. Too small.
Well, like the Mechazilla, like the robot Godzilla versus the actual Godzilla.
The new version. That's so like one of those weird. Did you watch the 2014 movie with Cranston?
Yeah, I saw it once. I don't remember it a whole lot, but.
All I remember is the point at the end with the weird thing where like Godzilla comes up and grabs it and like yanks its jaws open and like breathes fire down into its fucking mouth, like just shits all over it. Like kind of like that, I guess. It's like Rollins and Triple H, and we're supposed to like they tried to make Godzilla a babyface in that movie. I was like, that's a weird decision this is.
Well, Godzilla's always been sort of a tweener. He's yeah.
I don't know Godzilla being a tweener.
He is. He's they don't want to need him, but sometimes they do.
Yeah, Godzilla saved the day, I guess. I don't. But yeah, and that's
anyway,
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it looks like Joe's gonna lose at Fastlane, which I'm preemptively preparing for like the shitstorm that's gonna happen.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't care at all because it's okay. Again, like we said, I continue to try to remind myself, like you said before, it's not a sprint. It's not even a marathon. It's just an endless loop.
Right. It never stops. Right. It's forever.
Yes, it's never going to end. I mean, maybe one day, but even if it does, it'll be like Nitro, where it just stops.
Right.
And nothing mattered anyway. So, and nothing matters now, but So yeah, I mean, it's okay that New Day didn't show up. It's okay that Joe's probably going to lose his first pay-per-view match. It's okay that, you know, Triple H spent 20 minutes on a promo that tried to get himself over as a babyface, but he's actually a heel, and I don't, you know.
The glory days are back again. We got a 20-minute H promo.
Road to WrestleMania, baby.
It's Mania season, baby.
We got 30 minutes to fill.
He's got a bushier beard, the same promo.
Yeah, we got 30 minutes to fill for the main event, and Triple H is smiling and pulls a microphone out of his back pocket and goes, "Just hit my music. Let's fucking do this." And then out he goes, and just the wine. Seth freaking. They're trying real hard to get that over. I don't know if those shirt sales are sagging, but Jesus, quit saying freaking after every, you know, fuck Seth freaking Rollins. Don't do it, Trips. H.
So that was that, yeah.
I suppose they can, you know, you threaten my kids and therefore I got to put you down, but he didn't even do that.
I mean, I'm halfway wondering, I mean, to me, and maybe
he cared more that he invaded NXT than threatened to go.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's like, maybe it's me as NXT super fanboy, but I'm hearing like we're going to have a fucking NXT versus Seth Rollins war starting soon. Like, you know, Nakamura and, I don't know, the Authors of Pain are going to come up with Joe to try to kill Seth Rollins. I don't know. That might be cool.
Which is also a weird, but NXT's the babyface promotion. And you're putting Triple H at the head of it, and Seth's the guy came in, tried to fuck with the show. They don't understand at all about conflicting emotions.
Well, that's on the one hand, I'm like, is this a mess because they don't know what they're doing, or is this a mess on purpose? Because it ties in, like, you could maybe tie in like some Shane versus Stephanie stuff to this down the road. That's the good thing about them, like, throwing everything at the wall, is later they can pick out whatever they want to make it work.
Yeah. But
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Are you any?
If they want to make Shane versus Triple H for Mania 35 or something, there are probably some things they could pull out of this and use to that.
Please don't. Please. I just can't. Are you any more or less excited for a Triple H Seth Rollins match?
No, not. I mean, I'm confused. Is that good? Does that count as excited?
You're exactly where you were before.
Not. I mean, I don't. I'm less like focused on it because I feel like coming out of Takeover, we had, like we talked about yesterday, I felt like we had a good, like, here's Seth finally acted like a real baby face, but we still have some questions, and now nobody's acting like a baby face, and I still don't know why they're going to fight, but
he finally acted like a real baby face, and 2 days later he's threatening small children.
and being a total, like, skeeve ball with Stephanie.
Calling Steph babe, yeah. Every time you look
come
at
on,
me,
sweetheart, and yeah.
Which, look, if you go back and look at those old times they were together, I certainly thought she wanted to fuck Seth.
Oh, there's sexual tension there. Don't absolutely.
For sure.
What is that? What's the ship? What's the ship name for that? Is it Sethany? I guess probably.
Steph would work just fine to fix them together. Steph and Seth.
Well, that's why I'm saying Sethany. Seth Ani. McMahon, Sethany.
Steph Rollins. That's no, I don't like it.
I think I'm going with Sethany. I don't know if that's right.
Sethany? Yep. That's weird.
Yep. Hashtag Sethany.
Which, fine, but like, yeah, little, like, kind of,
Anyway, yeah, I think there's definitely tension there.
Yeah, there's sexual tension for sure, but which, hey, cool, but it's and then this came after reading a tweet from TJ Perkins, so I was like on the edge of like creepy male behavior. And then this thing's like, hey, babe, get out. Like, oh, here we go. Here we fucking go. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the TJ not only reads all of the slash fiction about him or the fan fiction, he saves it.
And enjoys
this
it.
Dude,
thoroughly.
This motherfucker.
Creeped out by this. I tweeted and said, this is creepy. So many women were like, I'm very uncomfortable.
I'm surprised he didn't block you because he's a vanity searching mofo. So I'm surprised. Or he likes you calling him creepy, maybe.
Yeah, you don't need to vanity search. He's tagged. It's right there in your mentions, player.
And you know
or
he goes
not
through
player,
those.
or not
Yeah.
player, just straight creep mode. Like, ooh, look,
Mhm.
ooh, they shipped me with Sasha. Can't wait to read it and save it. That's good.
Well, I mean,
And then
this is not
enjoy.
surprising. He retweets every compliment he gets from a female, so it's not surprising at all, really. It's just
Someone called him a baby or said he wasn't a baby face, and he sent them a video of him being cheered at by fans. I'm dead ass serious. That is actually a thing that occurred.
again, not surprised at all. Not surprised at all.
Like, oh, I'm not a baby face, huh? And then it's like fans are like cheering at him, and then they're like, dab, just do one dab, one dab. It's like, dude, there's a difference between fame and like fondness. Just because they know you and shout at you, like they know and shout at Donald Trump.
The people, I mean, but the people who wait outside of wrestling shows to see wrestlers will cheer for, I mean, they probably cheer like Charles Robinson. I mean, they recognize someone who recognizes them and they cheer. It's not, I mean, to tie
That's
it back
that ref guy.
To tie it back into our opening conversation, if you want to point to one of the big reasons why nobody cares about the cruiserweights, is because they made the wrong fucking choice as the first champ, TJP.
Boy, did
dab on that. Enjoy and save that, motherfucker.
Dab on that. That's it. He all caps all of it. Super extra creepy. He was like, I read / enjoy / save all of it. Like, you're fucking weird, dude. Right? Look, and fanfic's fine. We have someone wrote fanfic about us.
You know what? Not only did I not save and enjoy it, I never read it. So there you go.
I read it and didn't save it, didn't enjoy it, was thoroughly freaked out by it, and was like, all right. I hope this doesn't turn into we're murdered. You on the main streets of Bodymore Murderland, and me out here in the cornfields of Iowa.
Well, I don't know, man.
That's why I perpetuated this lie that I'm from Iowa. I'm actually in Nebraska.
That's why I do it. It's to protect you. I don't want people to know you're in southeastern Indiana.
Yeah, why would they want to come find me here in Nebraska?
Exactly. So Dark Fox in the comments says that Joe isn't losing at Fastlane because interference from Hunter or someone else leads to Seth versus Triple H. I don't know how that works though. Why is that the thing that leads to? Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. They may schmoz it up somehow, but I don't see how Hunter interfering to help Joe leads to Hunter accepting a match.
We're to a point that it already should have been accepted because Rollins has interfered in his show that is his professional life.
Yep.
He fucked up something in his
creative life.
Yes, his creative life. He has interfered with his creative process. He has now also interfered with his personal life, and not just personal life, but his children. He threatened his children. If you're not going to set the match up from there, what's next? Do one of the kids actually have to take a pedigree? Like, are we going to get a scene? Because they've done this. Keep in mind, the Triple H is a man who went to Randy Orton's home and just wrecked shop, I believe, right? Home invasion, just assault and battery. I mean, he should still be in the clink for that. But, and this is after Randy Orton, didn't he kiss Stephanie right in front of him after giving her an RKO?
Yep.
What are we doing with our lives? This motherfucker. What the fuck with this family, dude? RKO'd her, kissed her, while Triple H was like, actually, wasn't he handcuffed to the ring post? This is getting sexy, is what it is.
That's one word for it.
They're like, how do we live out a fantasy on television? And people don't know that's what we're doing. I mean, so it's just, what do they, if you get to the match because Triple H interfered in a Joe versus Rollins match, that's dumb and bad.
Yeah, I don't see how that makes any sense.
I mean, I'd just rather, Rollins showed up behind a bush and hit one of his kids with a bow and arrow or some shit. And
I mean, maybe if Triple H interferes to help Joe win and then Seth goes and burns down the McMahon compound or something, then that leads to a Triple H match. There's a step there. It's not this, then that. There's got to be something in between. Which is the whole problem we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
I still can't think of any reason why Triple H will. And introducing Joe, as cool of a moment as it was, reinforces that. He's like, I'm not going to wrestle you, dude. I'm going to call up this murdering motherfucker to wrestle you instead.
I did
there
like
is
the
nothing
promo.
you can do to get me to do this.
Yeah, and I did. They should have started this earlier if this is the case, and actually followed through on it in a more meaningful way instead of just throwing him into the Jericho and Owens thing that they'd been doing. Like he was teaming with Reigns for a minute there, and it was like that was how weird that was. They should have. It should have been a longer arc of. Here's the thing: I'm not going to wrestle you. I'm an executive. And then that's hard to do because eventually it's like, do you want him to come out and wrestle? And you're asking the fans to want that. But if we want, he's a heel. So like we're supposed to want that, but he's the I want you to come back so I can boo you. That's a little weird. And so, yeah, I mean, I kind of like what they're doing. I like that he's like, I'm an executive. I don't want to be the guy I once was. Even it's kind of weird that he like went into such vivid detail and like looked orgasmic talking about how much of a psycho he used to be. And like, I'm just trying to be a regular Joe. I have a job, that old retired fucking, recycled line, or not retired, recycled line he keeps giving about, I got a real job. We get it, guy. You love saying that. We understand. No, you don't, by the way. You just signed a 3-year talent contract. Fuck off. We know you're a wrestler. So I like that they're doing that, but it feels a little late in the game to just be at this stage. And now it's like, well, because it is a smart move to be like, I don't need to be that guy. I run a whole promotion with a bunch of killers, and I just found the biggest killer of them all, and I'm going to have him fucking murder you because you're that far beneath me. I do have a real job. I run this fucking show. Like, you're just a peon. Like, eat a dick, fam. Let me go find any killer I need, and they're going to murder your face, and that's what happened. And there was some cool stuff. Like, it's going to make for great video packages later. Like, when he went out of so Joe hits, and if you look in the ring, Triple H is slowly putting his jacket back on. Like little stuff like that. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. Yep. And that's how that slowly walks to the outside and just and looks down, kind of kneels down, picks himself back up. And he's, the conquering sort of overlord looking down with his fucking psycho killer destroying this guy whose life has been, not made that miserable, I guess. So that really doesn't work, but like you're supposed to feel that way. And Seth did a really good job, I thought, of like looking up at him while he was hurt with, just such hatred and like, you motherfucker. Like I want to get to you so bad. And like, here he is like really hurt and fucked up and looking at him with pain and anger and frustration and all those emotions in his eyes. I thought he did a really good job with that too. So there was some good stuff contained within that, but a lot of story problems with it, a lot of alignment issues, a lot of stuff that makes it harder to really fully invest in and enjoy. Not hitting the beats like they did with like Bryan and Triple H. They hit every beat with that.
Well, and I think, part of the problem, like we talked about before, part of the problem is that they enforced this Triple H is going to disappear for 8 months thing.
That was really bad.
That's where a lot of these story beats would have been fleshed out and maybe beaten into the ground, but at least they would have. Now they're in this position where they're trying to fast forward and hit everything, all the angles, and this new stuff they want to do in 2 months between now and Mania.
And they've got Foley trying to convince us that he's not stupid when literally the last 4 months of television. The last 4 months of television have told us the exact opposite. Like, you are very stupid, and it's incredibly clear. And there have been moments that you could have proven you're not, and you just look baffled. Like,
he's learned to write the name of the city on his hand. That's a learning curve. I also think I kind of like that they brought back up. He looked moderately competent because he did sort of brought up the Triple H music thing and sort of threw it in her face without actually throwing it in her face, right? He just was like, well, that would be a shame if something like that were to happen again. I wonder how that could have went down.
You're trying to convince me you're not stupid, and you're writing the name of the city you're in on your fucking hand.
I'll tell you, the most impressive thing that Mick Foley did last night was keep eye contact with Stephanie at all times because, dear Lord, the girls were on display and looking very perky.
She is a bombshell.
Yeah, and that's like, and I don't feel bad about the fact that I was looking at your breastises because I wouldn't say that I have a right to do anything else.
I don't have a right to.
They are framed and lit very nicely.
They're lit.
Damn, girl.
Is that a
damn girl?
Yeah, like that's it, right? Like so that's a
and Mick, but to Mick's credit, he's making eye contact. I would have been, and I fancy myself like a feminist that has a nice set of boobs to look at every day of my life, but I would have been like, whoa, hey, what's going on? I would have been like, Seth, hey, baby girl, come on out here, sweetheart.
Hey, babe. Well, like too, it's like does that, as an aside, real quick, does that make you not a feminist just because you notice that? Like, I don't think.
I know. No, I mean, I think if I like made it the focal point, if I wrote a review based on it, then yeah, I think that would. I mean, yeah,
we're still taking her at her merits, but at the same time,
right?
Like, so you do get in trouble with that stuff. Like, you don't have a right to my body. You're right, I don't. But if you're wearing clothes,
I mean, I don't think somebody like I don't think having cleavage. Right. I don't think having cleavage means it's okay for me to like stare at your boobs for an entire 10-minute conversation. I think that would be like but I think I'm gonna glance because I'm a human. I'm a human being who finds boobs attractive. So.
And if you're wearing that, is it because what's the idea behind wearing it? Is it because
Well, I mean, it's you also think your boobs look good, and it makes you feel better when your boobs look good. Which is fine. I mean, if I had
what is it that makes you feel better about that though? That people would
No, I mean, people like to be attractive. Like, I mean, if I was like ripped, I mean, Triple H wears fitted suits because it looks good because he works on his body a lot. I mean, that's the same idea.
But isn't it like he likes that other people look at that and acknowledge it? So is it the kind of thing where it's like she maybe likes the idea of like people see that and they go, oh yeah, she's hot. She's got great tits.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, who doesn't? Nobody dislikes being thought of as attractive, and I mean, I don't. But
not in the sense of like so it's not like your entire value as a human is determined on whether or not your tits are nice, right? Or like I'm not like discounting anything you say because I can't stop staring at your chest, kind of thing. But like I think it's okay, right? I'm never sure about this kind of shit, so I think it's okay to see Stephanie and be like, holy fuck, she's incredibly hot, and she's got look at her, she's got her tits out, kind of. That's pretty hot too. Like that's okay to say, but like you still take everything on the merits of what it is. I think. Right.
I mean, I think you don't want to judge her entirely based on how attracted you are to her breasts, but
sure,
you're allowed to be attracted to her breasts. Yes,
if you're allowed to do that. Yeah.
Right.
I guess we're saying well, she's wearing it, so I don't want to say like she's asking for it. I'm not.
Right. Exactly. That's why I sort of backtracked a little.
I'm getting scared of shit of what we're saying. Like I don't know what.
Right. No. I mean, I think we're. I don't know. The only thing. Like I said, I think I've said on this show before, all I can do is I try to be sensitive to other people. And if I'm wrong, tell me and I'll process that and try to do better next time. So if this is like some sort of horrible sexist conversation, explain to us how, dear listeners, and we'll try to do better. But I don't think we are. I mean, I think we're right. I think we're right where we're supposed to be. She's got great boobs. She knows it. We appreciate it. And we still think she's a good business. And we're still willing to evaluate her as a businesswoman and a performer. An interesting thing, I think we're fine.
An interesting thing, or propose of whatever. So, not wrestling, but within line with this conversation, is just talking to a lady friend, and I was like, "Do women do that? Like, do you ever like so as a male, you see someone like that, you're like, wow, she's really hot. Like, you see her tits, they're nice. You're like, you kind of okay, whatever. Your mind wanders, like, wonder what they look like. Like, do you ever do that as a woman? Like, you look at a guy and you wonder like what his package looks like. Do. And she's like, it's exactly the same, dude.
Yeah, we're all human beings.
I'll see a total. So, lady friends, like, I'll see a total stranger, and I'll wonder what his dick looks like. I'll wonder even maybe what it's like to have sex with him. Like, not that I'm ever going to approach it, not that it's ever a thing, not that I'm even sometimes not even attracted to these people, but you just have thoughts. You wonder what their face looks like in certain times or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, that makes sense. Like, what? Yeah. So it's not the.
Why did you think that wasn't happening?
It's not that I thought it wasn't happening, but I'm just like, is that because like
it's just that you didn't even think about the mind of a woman, you sexist son of a bitch.
Well, it's such a thing that it's just attributed to males. Like men think one way and women think another way, and I'm like, is this an all women kind of thing? Like, is that obviously you don't represent all women, but like, is this a thing? It's like, dude, yes, of course it is. Like, this is just how that's people. That's a human thing. It's not a whatever. So
unless you're asexual, and there's nothing wrong with that either,
not at all.
Then you think about these things from time to time.
I think even asexual people think about it. They just have a different attraction to it.
I guess I don't know.
Super fascinating, by the way.
Yep.
But back to wrestling. So Stephanie looks great, and Mick. Although if I'm in the room with Steph and she's talking to me, I'm probably looking in her eyes too because I'm scared to death of her. She'll probably murder you if she sees it and doesn't like it, and because she's very intimidating.
She'll do that if you're looking at her eyes anyway. You might as well get a good look at the goods.
Although I also applaud him for not laughing when she's like, "Did you just have a brain fart?" I appreciate that he didn't laugh at that because I would have chuckled. I'd have done what you just did. Like, oh Jesus, what did you just say?
I'm laughing because I totally that's one of those lines that I don't know if it's real or not. This is just my supposition. I totally believe that's that Vince insisted on that line. It's like, you will say brain fart.
Steph, say brain fart. Say brain fart. It's gonna be great. It's gonna go over huge.
Let's rehearse it again. Say it again. Say it again.
It did. She talked about what it's like. She's like, I really want to put in this. We're going with brain fart. That's how it's going to be. Shit. So yeah, another angle where we are trying to get to a match, and there's no reason in the world to have it, or it should have been accepted or not, is Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. How did you feel about what they did here? The disgraced, crestfallen beast.
As someone who has not enjoyed a Paul Heyman promo probably since the night after WrestleMania 30, I thought this was pretty good. We knew they were going to do it. They had to come up with some way to do it. This is as good as anything else.
How amazing is it that the night after WrestleMania 30, Paul Heyman cut what I believe to be the greatest promo of all time, and he hasn't had a good promo since.
Well, it's not so much that he hasn't had a good promo, it's that he's been recycling that same promo more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all been everything else has been a remix of that one, and it gets old after a fucking while. So this was actually finally something new.
Yeah, so many people play eat, sleep, suplex, repeat, and people are like, eat, sleep, wear glasses, repeat. Yeah, you're lame.
Graves did it during the Rumble. He said, eat, sleep, eliminate, repeat, or whatever. When Brock was going through his little hot run.
Nothing clever ever got over in wrestling. It just doesn't happen. It's
got to be simple and chantable. Those are the criterion.
Super easy to regurgitate, and we can all share in it.
Yep.
But I agree. Thought it was a really good promo. Thought it was, it's cool to like acknowledge that Brock as a very human. And Laredo bothered me.
I don't know why that's funny to me, but it was funny to me.
I just like
tell me why, Gino? Why did Laredo bother you last night?
So Brock comes out and they're like, he stands before you a crestfallen, disgraced beast. And the crowd's like, oh, Brock, suplex city. They're like behind him. And Brock kind of looks out. He nods his head a little bit. He's got a little bit of a smile on his face, like, thank you. You've supported me in a dark hour, and I appreciate it. Fucking 4 seconds later, they start chanting, Goldberg. Like, are you shitting me, Laredo? How do you not? And then Heyman, I think Heyman, it fucked up his rhythm because he was going to get to that. Like, he was headed for saying that is like, oh, it fucking makes money. And he's really good, again, at reacting to things. And he's like, they're saying it. I'm going to throw a car. I'm not even into this right now. Like, it's crestfallen and fucked up. But the crowd, like, what are you doing? Do you support him and you want to be there for him right now? Or do you actually love Goldberg and you want Goldberg to be the thing that you cheer? Like, where do your allegiances lie? Like, it's okay to have some, tweener in between. You're not sure how to feel, but that just bothered me. It's like, that's so weird we're so supportive, and then we're going to do this one thing that will make you hurt even worse. Like, so weird. Like, I'm so supportive of you. I'm sorry you're feeling bad. Oh, you're feeling bad about this? Let me dig the knife in even further.
But isn't that, that's sort of, I'll stick up for Laredo because I think that's kind of the whole, they're the WWE universe in a nutshell. We kind of like both of these guys. And they're not even really trying to make one of them like a traditional heel. Brock's kind of a jerk, and Goldberg's super dad. But other than that, do what you want.
Yeah, it's not, you're not like bad for doing it, whatever. I'm just like, that's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that's what happened. And the gist of Heyman's promo was essentially acknowledging what reality is. Appreciate that. They're just legends. Every single legend. And I think maybe that's true. Every single great run.
There's the Patriots have the Giants, right?
Patriots have the Giants, or they're Anderson Silva, who we talked about yesterday, had Chris Weidman. He just kryptonite, man. Someone you run into, you go, I just don't know how to beat that fucker. And Brock Lesnar has that too, and that it's Goldberg.
What did you think? What did you think of the Rousey line? Because first of all, that's not really true. Rousey ran into the fact that time in the game passed her up, not necessarily Holly Holm, but
I think it was.
You think that's a little kiss? Well, all right. I think it was a striker, as we found out later.
That's true. That's true. I think it was just more generally.
I don't think it's like Ronda Rousey. It wasn't like she tried to beat Holly Holm and she couldn't. All of a sudden, I just think anyway. The point being, not to get, but do you think that was sort of I took that more as like a sort of kissing up to Ronda.
Really? I thought it was.
Oh,
if I'm Ronda and I'm watching that, I'm going, really? Fuck you guys, man. Jesus. I just got
well,
my
I think
ass
that's to me that's like a flattering. I mean, it's the narrative is that you were sort of an egotistical so-and-so that, you know, only thought you could be a boxer and didn't focus on your strengths and the game passed you by. The flattering thing is like, oh, well, Holly Holm was just your kryptonite. No one could possibly beat you except for this one person, which, like I said, isn't true, but that's
true. Yeah.
how Heyman made it sound.
Holly Holm found the key to defeating Ronda, which I was probably known before, but she was just such a specimen. And Holly's another specimen who's like, look, I'm actually a legitimate boxer, and you can try that fucking judo shit. And she didn't too. It was like a part of the problem. It was like she went in with a really bad game plan. Like someone convinced her she could strike, and I don't know who did that. And that's a real problem because you can get away with that shit against these lower levels who, when it's okay, and then you hit, you know, you still get your judo slam.
When the whole sport was new, and then now you've had people actually trained for you, and you think you're something you're not.
Absolutely, anyway. Hoist Gracie. Absolutely, Hoist Gracie, running through people who don't know what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu even is, and then people fucking learned it, and then it's like, okay, now that I can block your armbar attempt and get back to standing, what are you going to do when we actually have to throw punches at each other? I'm going to cower in the corner is what my new plan is. I'm going to lay in a fetal position and think about pancakes until this ref gets you the fuck off me. Like, this is very bad. When he came back and fought Matt Hughes, and Matt Hughes changed his fucking life. But, like, so
maybe Punk should try that plan next time. Or maybe he already did.
It would have lasted a lot longer than 214, I think. What were we talking about?
I don't. Oh, we're talking about Heyman's promo.
Brock doesn't want to cower in the corner. He wants to come out there and give it the old college try one more time. And Goldberg's like, I'm going to give you your answer and a whole lot more next week. And I really hope he comes out and he's like, Brock, you're not next. Because
that's what I was going to say. Is this deserves the Taker Sean the Taker treatment of like, you know what? I thought about your proposal and no.
Yeah.
And just walk away.
My answer is no. And he just left.
Interesting plan. Not going to do it. Bye.
And then I need to see the next week. You don't need to bring him to TV. Fly Heyman to fucking North Dakota or Canada, wherever the hell he's holed up, and just like have him sit there. And they're like, they've got their hands on their chins, and they're like, okay, he said no. What's our next? What's our next play?
I joked about it on the Twitter machine. If I'm Brock, I think about firing Heyman. What? I mean, that guy hasn't done much for you in a couple years now. You need a new advocate. You're getting some bad advice.
Or even also good to think like, well, so what are we gonna? Well, we could go after. We could threaten his kids. Yeah, Seth did that to Trips, and Trips didn't even go for it. I don't even know if that's a sound strategy at this point. Like, this is wrestling. It's rough and tumble in here. Like, and plus, remember, you told Heath Slater you don't give a shit about his kids. That's a precedent.
That's right.
Set. They know he knows we don't. He knows you don't care about children. All right, so we need to come at this from a fresh angle. Like, I just need a strategy session, even maybe a blueprint. But go comedy with it if you're going to do it. We've seen the seriousness. So yeah.
Well, if the rumor's right, maybe Goldberg comes back and says, "No, I'm going after the title." Then he wins the title.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe Brock does the old. You go to the old standby where Brock just starts wrecking the show until Foley and Stephanie give him a title shot, and that's how you. Here's what I think will happen.
I think he'll come out and say, "No, I appreciate what you're saying, but no, like I have my white whale, and it's WCW creative team, and I couldn't overcome them. I couldn't, and it's Kevin Nash,
and I couldn't. Manufacturers of stun guns everywhere.
It's a cattle prod, and I couldn't overcome that. So you're shit out of luck. My bad. Anyway, I have other things to like. I hope he kind of does that. Casual disdain's what I'm all about. So if he's just like, appreciate the offer, but no, I've got better things to do. Stephanie, about that title shot we talked about. I didn't win the Rumble because old ass hip replacement Undertaker snuck up behind me. We don't need to talk about that. If you don't send him out here and I'll spear his ass again, I want the title shot we talked about. And then Owens has just gotten finished up with Braun Strowman. You're going to get Strowman Roman, so you're going to get your wish for that.
And so I'm so excited. That's what I'm excited about. That one makes me tingly.
Fastlane's looking like a sexy card. I'm wet thinking about it. But
You are gross. Yesterday there was semen coming out of your ears or something. Now you're wet about Fastlane.
I don't give a rat's ass.
I'm telling you, Strowman Roman is somebody. I apologize. I'm going to steal this from somebody on Twitter. Somebody tweeted. It might have been Luke. Somebody tweeted just the words "wet beef" to me when I said Strowman Roman, and that has me very excited. That's what we're talking about. That is a big plate of soggy, beefy deliciousness.
Soggy beef. Oh, I love it so much. But so I really think Goldberg is going to get his title shot. So it's Goldberg versus Owens, and Brock will cost him the title. And then Goldberg will be like, okay, you wanted it. I'm going to fucking put you out of your misery for good. And then I'm going to go get the title. And then we'll see what happens after that. So I think that's
so do you think Owens Jericho end up being title versus title or something?
At this point, I think it's what they have to do.
I'm down. I like it.
Jericho loses the title to Sami Zayn, the U.S. title, and he blamed Owens for it. And so he's like, I'm fine. You didn't help me keep that title. I'm going to take the Universal title. And they go into Mania, and that'll be it'll beef that one up. It's been the main program for fucking ever on Raw. I mean, I think he a real disservice and fucked up if you just don't throw him in like a ladder match like, before.
Yeah.
And then have Zack Ryder win the goddamn thing. That'd be fucked up. I can see
on one leg.
It. Yeah, right. I can see it happening, but yeah. So I think that probably looks like what they could do, and that would make sense. I mean, because that is how you'd respond to that. I guess you'd be like, okay, I guess I got to, you're gonna fuck with me if I don't give you your way. I'll just put you out of your misery for. So,
all right, I like it.
That's fine, I guess. Hope Goldberg plays it well in the promo next week. And then I really want those strategy sessions.
I'm sure if he sticks to his guns about not headbutting any, solid objects before the match, I think he should be able to handle it.
Yeah, because if he does, he might go out there, fuck around, and accept it. And look, I'm concussed. Like you said, I didn't agree to this. Yes, you did. Here's the thing. It's like, oh, shit. But you see that blood running down? That's my brains oozing out. I wasn't aware what was going on. All right, well. That's what Strowman did. Strowman had footage queued up. He went into Raw with a purpose. I'd like to know.
He's no dummy. That guy's no dummy. He's
that
ready.
Dude, I almost made him the dumbest ass, and I'm glad I didn't because he proved me wrong. He was back there with production going, who's got the tape from a month ago? Because I know that happened. Or I'd like to think. He went home after the Rumble, and he was watching old Raws. Like, I know he told me this. And he's just sitting in front of his TV, fast-forwarding, looking for the backstage segment. Got it! And he pulls it out of the VCR and takes it to fucking Raw. Yeah, he has a VCR for sure, a VCR.
He has brains and brawn.
Ooh, I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying there.
I think he has the VCR. He has one of those TVs with the VCR built into it still, and he sits in his hot tub and he watches those while he's on Tinder.
You know what I wish his Tinder profile just said all beef, baby. I'd swipe right.
It should.
I'd make a second profile.
I don't even know what that. I don't even know what swipe. I don't even know which way you swipe. I'd swipe both ways. I'd swipe up.
What else happened? Oh, did you like how they stole my Bailey hugging the light back into people idea?
They did.
She single-handedly is bringing Cesaro and Sheamus together.
Are we getting? Are they not gonna break up now? I'm so confused.
That would suck. Actually, it wouldn't. I don't really care.
I mean, this is like what they did with Heath Slater and Rhino, where they gave us this great breakup angle, and then they just ignore that. Just forget that. Forget we did that.
There's a lot of stuff they just forget. They're just like, well, we should. Well, what about that? That didn't happen. That never happened. None of that occurred.
We don't really care.
It's a good thing everyone isn't as motivated as Braun Strowman is, because there'd be a lot of footage.
That's right. Around. Yep, exactly. They'd be like, we're going to need to cue that up because it's bullshit.
Bailey's really good at winning matches that there's not a damn thing on the line for. I'll tell you that.
That's something she and Sasha have in common.
Maybe what they should do is someone should strategize. We need more strategy in our wrestling. I don't want to be super sportsmanlike, but if they incorporate strategy, where it's like
incorporate strategy,
incorporate some good strategy into this shit. I need a backstage segment where someone's like trying to convince Bailey for the next title shot that it's not actually a title shot, but it is, and they trick her and she fucks around, wins the belt because she wins every time it's not for the title. She wins. As soon as it is, she gets beat. Someone work on this. That's an actionable problem there. Like, there's a solution to this, and it seems pretty simple. It's staring you in the face. Same thing with Sasha. You're hard-headed. What are you doing? You going out there getting killed? No, I'm good, Doc. I'm not okay with failing, unlike some people. Bailey just stares at her. What's that mean? What do you mean? What does it mean, dummy? It means you can't win. She's saying you suck, baby.
She says you're okay with losing.
Yeah, that you. And then the old Jericho thing. What if I throw Brock Lesnar over the top rope for the Rumble? Means he's eliminated, Chris. How else can we help you today? Yeah, so that was yeah. And Sasha's still being broken, which is cool. Did you like how Bailey ran out to assist and she didn't do anything to Nia?
That's what I was like. What the fuck?
She gets to the ring and she stands like from afar. It's like, ref, seriously, get her off her. That was her big.
We also actually know that you can beat Nia in a fight. We've seen it a couple times. So what are you doing? What's this plan? Yeah, the planning's not the strong suit. You're right. They should hire they need to get like
planning's not these people have no idea how to plan and act. They can
like whatever the people that baseball teams hire that come up, they figure out like when to shift or whatever, like an analytics dude. That's what the wrestling needs. That WWE.
Vince McMahon was a billionaire at one point. It's a miracle that happened. He just accidentally became very successful. Like, how the fuck is someone so fickle and so unable to follow through on his plans? And you don't. It doesn't even need to be the jokey thing that we do. Like, oh, Meltzer said this and they did this, and Meltzer goes, "Well, plans change." Of course, you say that. You don't know. Like, it's very clear when plans did change because shit just gets dropped. Storylines just disappear. Like, these are people who had an anonymous GM and then just disappeared, and never explained it. Like, you know what I mean? They built a whole angle to like the big reveal.
It was Hornswoggle.
Did they? They did explain it one day, finally, didn't they? But it was like 6 months after the original thing ended.
Yeah, I mean, it was a joke well after it was over. Yeah.
Wasn't there a creative story where someone was like, "Hey, we have to tie that up," and Vince was like, "No, we don't," and they just moved forward?
I think so. I think that was one like a former writer.
Just walked away from him, like, Vince, we never did reveal that. Oh, I thought we did. Oh, that's too bad. Hey,
we keep watching. We keep sitting here talking about it, even though they don't bother to tie up loose ends. So
right, it's so fucking strange. What else happened on this show? I don't think anything.
I don't think so. Let's see what this. Let's see what.
Let's see. Owens versus Strowman. Owens Strowman.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Roman. You want to talk about Reigns on this show and how you felt about his? He's the ass kicker.
Mm-hmm. Which wasn't that Triple H's nickname and also Brock Lesnar's nickname at one point in time?
Yeah.
I like the Sami Jericho match. It's the old, beat the champ to get a title shot gimmick, which I know you love. So, I mean, they didn't overtly say that, but I'm sure somewhere down the road that will be the justification for why Sami does get a title shot.
Well, he was pretty dominant. I mean, he kind of just ran through Jericho.
Well, Jericho had an ankle injury. They didn't even reveal. I think somebody should call the NFL office and get that look into that. Can't be not listing injuries on the IR report. Come on.
It's cortisol. He's all right. Well, also the Sami Zayn thing, the burying thing that people like, well, that's a hell of a way to bury him. Like, that could have been one segment.
Yep.
Like, Meltz didn't specify that it's like they're going to – and plus, he on Twitter, he's like, there's a difference between burying a guy and having heat. If he has heat and he says they did a segment to make fun of him to get him under, like, why does everyone assume that that's just going to be a continuous thing? It could have just been, let's make fun of him for one segment and then move on from it. Like,
well, I think they're continuing to make fun of him. The whole balls thing with the Rumble was, I mean, that's
true. The backstage segment.
His new character is that he's kind of an annoying goofball, which I think is both a character and a rib, or whatever. Maybe I'm using the term rib wrong. Jesus Christ.
Isn't that how he is in real life?
Yeah, that's the word. That's what Owens always says in podcasts. Is like, yeah, he's just annoying as shit, and eventually you realize he's right though, so you deal with it. So
that's like me.
That's kind of, yeah.
I'm annoying, but I'm right and I'm successful. So you just roll with me. You deal with me.
So yeah, I don't know. The thing with the Meltzer report is the whole, like, I had honestly never heard the term getting under before. That was
neither have I. So that was done to get him under.
So that's like Meltzer makes up terms and then gets mad at us for not knowing what they mean. So I don't, I love you, Dave, but I know it is what it is. You got a good gig going.
Yeah, Dave's great, and like I said too, it doesn't mean it's like forever. It doesn't have to last longer than just backstage segments, right? It's, well, I thought they were getting him under. Like, look at what's happening in front of you, clown. Like, it's okay to go, okay, this segment, wow, they really fucked with him. This one, he won a match clean. There's a disconnect between what you hear and what's actually happening. You know what you should count on? What you can see in front of you.
Yep.
So yeah, for that segment, they got him under. For the other segment, they put him over. They're two entirely different things. It doesn't mean they don't still have heat with him to get him over, because they still have to run a business, people. They're not going to bury the guy at the expense of the business. They know Dave was talking about it on Meltzer or on Observer Radio today, where it's like, they got to get him over because they don't have a lot of depth, especially with WrestleMania season. Who's Jericho going to work with at Fastlane? Looks like Zayn. Yep. So it's probably, they're going to do what they need to do with that. So it's like and at some point you go, well, even if they want to bury the guy, they can't, because it's just not. It'd be a really bad business decision, so they won't do that. Just like they don't even want to fucking work with Goldberg. He hates Goldberg from everything we know and all the time that they spent sniping at each other for years and years. But you know what? It's a good business decision, so he's going to do it because it's how he makes his fucking money. So he accidentally made money, yes, but also he is a smart businessman. I'll do what we need to do to make the most money we can make. If that means putting this guy over, even though we're going to rib the fuck out of him in backstage segments, I think he's a big dummy that everyone's annoyed by. That's okay. We can have them both.
Yep.
There you go.
I mean, that's the only thing that matters is whatever happens next. So maybe they were clowning him in that segment, but he's getting a storyline. So, and that includes if Samoa Joe loses at Fastlane. I mean, we've seen a lot of times where the loser of a feud ends up getting pushed more than the winner. They have complete control over this reality, so they can do whatever they want. And 9 times out of 10, we accept it. So there you have it.
That was all, right?
Oh yeah, wait. I was gonna look at the live blog and then I got confused.
No Emelina.
No Emelina. No, not even a mention of her. I think I read somewhere for only the second time since they started these things, like 2, 4, or 8 months ago.
They didn't even like have her be like, "You've waited so long.
You deserve it." Maybe they're gonna. I think somebody in the post I wrote about the rumored Sasha heel turn, maybe they're pulling her back because they need her as a babyface. Because if they do turn Sasha, then Bayley is the only babyface on the roster.
Didn't someone say Summer was backstage last night too? So like, what's the?
Oh, really? I didn't see that. I don't know.
And then Foxy's still kind of out there. Foxy's
kind of. I mean, Foxy's at best a tweener, maybe a heel. I mean, that story has disappeared too.
Can we say something that's blatantly true that people want to act like maybe might not be?
That's your whole gimmick, so go for it.
The Raw women's division's kind of trash. It's not very good.
Pretty much. I kind of disagree with that, but okay.
Well, okay, it's not trash, but there's no depth. Let's say, like the SmackDown women's division is like it's four people deep. Exactly. Good. Everybody's good. I mean, Mickey and Natty and Nikki and fucking. That's not even. I haven't even mentioned the champ, Becky, Naomi. I mean, and I also haven't mentioned the biggest fucking heat magnet on the show. Like they got a deep ass division. Over on Raw, yeah, 3 women, and that's it.
We have 4, but okay.
4, I guess. I forgot about Nia. For some reason, I forgot about Nia.
I mean, that's their. But again, that's their own. That's of their own making, right? I mean, the reason that those. I mean,
to bring Emelina in, right?
Yeah, and 8 weeks ago, you wouldn't have said that SmackDown had this deep ride because you didn't know. A lot of people did. I mean, a lot of us thought. I mean, even people who were fans of Alexa Bliss's work in NXT were like, this is a little bit too early. And look how that turned out because they spent the time to build her up, and
she turned me into big.
And she, I mean, she's done a lot of work too, but they gave her the opportunity, and then she ran with it. People on Raw aren't even getting the opportunity.
That's true.
Outside of those 4,
I think Alexa might be someone who I had no feelings about, turned me the most, where I had no feelings at all, into one of my favorite performers to watch. Like she's really, really fun. Just a really fun pro wrestler. She's really good at what she does. I like her matches. I like her finish. I like her promos. I like the way she looks. I like how she reacts to things. And she's good in backstage segments. And she's dynamite, man. She's great. So, yeah, I think you're right. They don't have – and that's the thing, too, is like Raw doesn't have anyone that they can get to that point. Like they don't have – like maybe Nia, right. But would they just – okay, we're going to bring this person in and push them. Like that's not how really it works. It's just we're just going to recycle these same 4 women and hope people don't get tired of it. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? That's a coming. Like it happened with Sasha and Charlotte. There was all that big backlash to a lot of wonderful things they were doing. And it was just like, okay, but if they have one more fucking match together, and if the rumors are right, they're gonna be a 4-way at Mania. Like with those 4.
I still don't even know how we get that. I don't know. Stupid. Yeah, I agree. I would rather they do Bayley and Charlotte.
Yeah, just do a fucking singles match. Don't do this throw them all in there shit. Please stop doing that.
But then they'll be in trouble for not having Sasha on the card or whatever. I don't know.
I think you could argue they'll be in trouble either which way.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Is there's no way they're going to please everybody.
And I can't blame them because again, WrestleMania has never been about wrestling. It's always been about star power.
It's really lately it's turned into they want the moments. They want something that people are going to fucking share, and ESPN is going to run. And
it's funny too because like someone said, someone tweeted the more I hear Geno's enthusiasm for Reigns versus Undertaker, the more excited I get for it. And someone responded to that and you go, well, the more I look at Undertaker move around, the less excited I get for it or something like that. And it's funny, I read that and I was like, the one thing I'm not even thinking of when I think of how much I want Reigns and Undertaker, the actual match. I don't even consider that part of it because it's just like, maybe they think the same way. Like it's just, this is an explosive thing that we could do between two big personalities and people are going to care a lot. Let's put them together. And then I don't even consider what the match will look like. I just consider the finish. So, I mean, yeah, it probably will be a shitty match. And I guess Undertaker's struggling because he's 1,000 years old and had 1 million surgeries in his life. So, of course, he's struggling.
Yeah. Well, and he hasn't had the surgery he should have because he's waiting. Yeah. I mean, and I don't know. To me, I do think about the match, but I recognize that that's maybe not the business model for Mania. So, yeah. I mean, maybe they do it and, Taker summons lightning and evaporates into the ether, and that's the big moment that we all tweet about, and there was never a match. I don't know.
What about
Handsome Rusev is
oh boy.
He's now lost a feud, I guess. Is that finally over?
Why are they even bringing him out? Why are they even Enzo and Cass, there you go.
Yeah, I mean
someone said they jumped the shark last night. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's
Enzo
fair
and Cass jumped the shark last night?
Yeah. Maybe was it last night?
What did they do last night?
No, they were just like Jinder. What are those veins? You got veins in the arms? Look like a mat.
Oh, and then the GPS stuff and yeah.
Rusev, what's that on your face? Is it I can't remember what he said. And then it's we're gonna beat you up.
Windshield.
Yeah, we're gonna beat you up. How you doing? We're gonna kick your ass. How you doing? We're gonna take you down. How you doing? Like it was like clear they didn't have a thing.
Why would last night be the jump the shark moment though? They've been doing that for we've talked about that like 3 months ago.
Right, and but that's why I'm saying I don't think it's fair to be like, oh, jump the shark. But I think we're getting close to a point where it's like, look, if you don't actually have anything to say, don't send them out to spend 10 minutes talking. Like, because it was clear there's like sometimes they can get over with it and sometimes they can't. And I mean, they're always going to get over in some way for the main catchphrases that they do. And that's the benefit of having an act like that, very Rock-like, where Rock didn't always hit in every promo he ever did. He said some shit that people didn't care at all about or were even offended by, or were like, oh, this is bad. Like, that's not a good Rock promo. But when he hit the beats, it doesn't matter what your name is or, all the other, he had a bunch of them that were super over. He could just incorporate them in and it would be okay. The rest of the promo would kind of fall away. Wouldn't matter that much. Kind of the same thing with these guys, or like, my name is Enzo, I'm certified G, and then the spelling soft and all that stuff. But this one was like, they went too long. You're asking too much of them to say things about uninteresting characters that nobody really cares about, and you're wasting too much time. And that you don't have to do this really long, drawn out thing and make fun of people in this way every time. I feel like they're kind of overdoing it a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to write them off. I mean, I remember we kind of did that.
I think they're still over with it though. I mean, I think the crowd still responds to it. They, like I said, they just got 3 new shirt designs. So they're obviously selling merchandise. I think, again, this is where like our little, the internet, the male adult, not everybody's a male, but I mean, the adult fan on the internet is like, I'm tired of this, but there's a lot of people who aren't on the internet talking about it. There are a lot of people in the arenas that are still responding to it. To me, the crowd didn't turn on them or anything. The crowd was eating it up.
I think they ate up the bigger stuff. They weren't as hot for the smaller stuff. I mean, there were some lines that didn't get over and some that did, but like, that's comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's what it is. Everything you say is not going to be, just because you're a comedian, not everyone is going to think it's the funniest thing in the world. That's the thing about comedy, is it's like very unique to you and where you are in the world and in your own life in that moment.
And they're coming on at the end of they taped Main Event beforehand, so these folks had been there. They were like at 10:30 or something, right? So, and the people have been sitting there for 3.5 hours. I mean, I don't know. I'm not worried about. To me, all the signs point to them still being super popular. I don't think there's anything. I mean, they're getting the tie-in. They got the KFC spot that WWE was hyping. They ran it during the Rumble and sent press releases out to everybody about it. So I don't see anything. They're not exactly my cup of tea, and they haven't been for a long time. But I'm not worried about their position on the card or anything.
Yeah, I'm not ready to write them off like they're just.
There's somebody the WWE is going to make sure that they have something to do at Mania.
Looks that way. It looked like they were kind of building them up like they were going to put the belts on them at Mania because Orlando and NXT and all that, you kind of bring it all together, and especially in front of a crowd they're really going to be over as fuck with that crowd. So, I just don't. But you don't want people, even if it's small. And I have seen, Mike Fagan and Aaron, and then I've seen a kind of a growing subsection of fans who are like, I'm getting tired of Enzo.
But again, these are most of the same people who were begging for New Day to lose, and that didn't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that turned into like why New Day's not on the show now. But to me, New Day was still over with the masses, even while this subsection of adults on Twitter wasn't that into it.
Yeah.
I think this. This is like the same thing. Like you're saying, people shouldn't. This is like the cruiserweight thing. Just because a few people are saying I'm tired of Enzo and Cass doesn't mean that's actually a thing.
Sure. I just feel like in this instance, it's not a thing, but it's absolutely enough to go. I don't know if it's enough, but be aware of it. That, if there is a growing sort of discontent with, because that's how it starts, right? I mean, not to compare everything to The Rock, but it was he was fine at first, but there was a growing discontent, and that turned very quickly. And then they were chanting "Die Rocky, die" at him. So like, it was a different time, of course.
Well, but that was a different thing. I think I don't.
Well, sure, but I'm just more generally.
Once Rock got over as the Rock character, there still are people complaining about. But that hasn't affected the bottom line in any way. I mean, you hate when The Rock comes out now, but that doesn't mean it's bad business. I mean, you're part of a small. I mean, most of the people are like into it. I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence that there's like an actual people turning on Enzo and Cass. I've seen the usual people on the internet, of which I am part of, who get tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. But I don't think that affects their bottom line at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're pretty safe either which way from the masses are not turning on, and even with Reigns like this, this is a company that if they believe in something, they're going to do it. Reigns, if they didn't, Reigns would be, it would be a different situation.
I mean, there are a lot more people who hate Roman Reigns than who are tired of Enzo and Cass, and that hasn't changed a goddamn thing about how over Roman Reigns is. And
you could say that about John Cena, Yeah, that's kind of what's funny too. Is like, why don't they just turn him heel? Well, like we have a very good example of the path that they are willing to go. They are willing to. It's kind of funny because you didn't change. You didn't make them do what you wanted them to do. You just created the need in their mind to change how they approach the business that they're in. To go, I think we can make the most money with him, and so you didn't make him. You didn't say I'm going to boo him so much they turn him heel. You booed him so much that Vince just changed how he thought of the boos instead of going, I want to get rid of them. Or I want to make them, I want to emphasize them even more. Like he just changed his mindset on it. Clearly, right? That because he had a top guy for years where people did that. So he had to change his mindset because if he makes me too much money, his merchandise makes me too much money. It doesn't make business sense to turn this man heel because then a lot of different things are going to change and we don't have anyone who can even come close to taking his spot. And that kind of stuff is changing with the advent of the WWE network and television deals and the money that comes in through that and how they make their money and how they sell their product. The different things they're doing with new ad partnerships with NBC Universal and things like that. We're getting closer and closer to a place to where they can, in the action, they could turn The Rock because they had fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can't do anything wrong right now. It didn't matter. They didn't. If they were in a place where they had to rely on The Rock to be the top-selling babyface with all the top-selling merchandise, they wouldn't have turned him heel. In fact, we have an example of that. 2001, when they turned Steve Austin, and business never recovered. So it makes sense to me why this is a company who's gone through a situation like this with a top babyface, one of their top guys for the past decade, and go, no fucking way am I turning him heel until I know for sure that that's a thing we can do, because his run as a babyface has petered out completely, to the point where they've turned on him so much that turning him heel is not going to change that much anyway, i.e. Hulk Hogan in WCW in 1996, where it was like, your babyface run's over, fam. You've been doing the same shit for 20 years, and no one is accepting it, especially not here. This is the only way to give a new life to your career. And it was once he realized that this is how we can make money, and they made the merchandise cool, and they kind of stumbled into something big there, and it was helped along by him being the babyface he once was. They don't have a situation like that, and they certainly don't have that with Roman Reigns, and they still don't have that with John Cena. It would benefit no one to turn either of those guys heel. And again, that's a different way of looking at it, because you can look at it and say he's a heel to the people who want him to be a heel, and he's a babyface to the people who want him to be a babyface. I'm getting the best of both worlds.
We saw it with Cena on Sunday night. I mean, he can work heel in a match pretty. I mean, everything except for like actually low blowing people. I mean, facial expressions, the move set. He was the guy working as the villain, and then he can still get out of the ring and go celebrate with a kid and be the baby. I mean, why would you? I mean, the thing with Hogan too is, I mean, you had literally sold a Hulkamania T-shirt to everyone who would buy one. There were no more. The world was full. But you don't have that with Cena, or you're nowhere near that with Reigns, I don't think. So,
I agree.
It's a different world.
So, it is.
I was going to say something. Oh, speaking of Hogan, though, they also mentioned him last night too.
They did
in Heyman's promo. Yep.
So he's getting closer and closer to coming back.
The feelers keep coming.
Are you okay with it?
It's one of those things where I'm resigned to it. Like, even like the moment he was gone, I figured it's only a matter of time. So, I mean, as long as he apologized and everything, and he did. So,
you know what's weird that I've noticed about myself, I guess?
What's that?
I don't even know if it depends, if it matters what your crime is. I just can't hold a grudge. I don't really mind. Like, and I think it's too. There's a philosophical thing to it. Like, okay, that's a lie. I can. The crime does matter. If he raped somebody, I'm not forgiving that. And you murder somebody, you can't forgive that kind of stuff. That's the extreme part of it. But I guess.
Well, I mean, how do you feel about Mike Tyson though? Because he raped somebody.
Shit.
I mean, that's the one. Right. I mean, no.
There's in some ways it's like. Or even guys, I even say murder, and there are people who have killed people, and there's been forgiveness there, and that's I don't know if it, I don't practice like religion and things like that, but it's kind of strange to me that I have this feeling of like, man, and maybe it's because I've been in my life the kind of person who's needed forgiveness many, many times, and I think everyone has.
Yeah.
But it's like, shit, man. I'd hate to think that you can't be defined by your mistakes forever. And I don't know what the appropriate amount of time is for you to kind of, I think people are like that. If you fuck up, I think we want you to suffer. And that sounds shitty, but I think that's how it is with people. Like, we kind of want you to suffer.
That's the whole process. Yeah, the whole judicial system is kind of based on that. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll let you back. It's cool. Like, we'll be cool eventually. And it basically doesn't matter what you did. Like, on a scale of, depending, right? So like, the theater shooter, like, kill that guy is like everyone's basic, or the church, mass shooting kind of stuff. No fucking way. But there are people like a Dante Stallworth, drunk drove, killed a guy, and people forgave him. Stuff like that. So it's just, or even Tyson, or Donald Trump was elected president. Shit's weird, man. Like, you get forgiven for bad things you've done in your life, and it gets to be a strange philosophical thing of like, how do you approach that? Like, so when Hogan does come back, am I going to be like, no, he said a racist thing 5 years ago, fuck this guy? Or am I going to be like, hey, he made a mistake 5 years ago and hopefully learned and grew from it? I mean, Austin, right? Austin got in trouble for beating up his old lady. Could not look. The kind of person I've always been, like, I'll say some nasty shit, but I won't do anything nasty. Like, I've been in an unfortunate situation where a woman punched me in the face 8 times. I didn't hit her back. Because I couldn't believe in anything more strongly than if you're a man, you cannot hit women. You just fucking can't do it. It is unacceptable. And yet, one of my favorite
You
wrestlers of all
shouldn't
time.
hit people in general, really, but
Sure,
yeah.
sure. Violence sucks. Don't be a violent person. I can understand in certain situations where it's called for. I think, or it's a thing that it's kind of the human history is built on violence. I mean, that's just the reality of it. But that's something I believe in very strongly. And yet, one of my favorite wrestlers is a guy who beat up women. That sucks.
Well, I mean, the thing with Austin and personally, I mean, I can't tell anybody else what to do, but I look to see if somebody, owns up to their mistake, apologizes for it, and tries to act differently. That's all you can do. Like you said, we've all fucked up. So, like the example, I mean, there are still people who will like boycott a town that Michael Vick visits.
Yeah.
Because he ran a dogfighting ring, which is a horrible thing to do. As an animal lover, that's a pretty fucked up thing for me. But he was convicted. He went to jail. He apologized. Since getting out of jail, he has worked with humane societies to educate people on not doing that. That's all I can ask of you. You have done you have tried to atone for your mistake. You've accepted your punishment, and you've tried to behave differently. Just like we were talking about with like the feminist stuff. I mean, I fuck up all the time on things like that. And my wife or a woman friend will say, hey, here's why this wasn't cool. And I'll try to not do it again. I mean, that's not
you're going
fighting or murder or anything else. But that's the approach that, if you're trying to be a good person, which is the best we can all do, then that's, you bring in like the religious thing. I mean, that's what whether or not you believe in God or whatever, most religions are based on that idea of like, you get forgiveness if you try to not continue to be an asshole.
But also, you also have to account for the idea that as a human being, you are in a perpetual state of fucking up.
We're not perfect. Right, exactly. Yes. That's also a tenet of most religions. That humans aren't perfect. Yeah.
Which I do like that with Christianity or the Bible or like the stuff that I was taught growing up. But like I think it's kind of cool, at least, that their entire idea is as long as you ask for forgiveness, it doesn't matter what you've done. And the idea I think there is to appeal to humanity. So it's like, Hulk did he came out, he made some excuses, and he didn't really, go about it in the way that like what we just said, where he comes out and goes, man, I fucked up. I said some real bad shit, and I'm sorry that I did that. I did it, and I'm very sorry for the people that I affected. You don't say like, well, you got to understand where I came from. It was like, here we go. You're excusing it, right? And I'm
not excited about Hulk coming back. I would he is not somebody who did the Michael Vick thing to me. He sort of he did apologize, but he didn't really own up to it. I'm not sure what he's exactly done to like.
I'm also
I have not seen him like volunteering at inner city events or anything. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what exactly the right move would be, but I haven't seen it. I mean, I've seen him like tweeting things with Trump hats, which there are going to be people who are going to be really, really fucking pissed off when he comes back.
Yeah.
But I think most people are going to either be like me and be like, or they're going to be, or they're going to be excited to see him because they fucking love Hulk Hogan. And there were people who, in the midst of it, like we were getting new tapes where he was saying new horrible shit, and people were like, "I don't care, Hulkamania, motherfucker," So,
but there's that level of it too, where it's like I feel bad, I guess, in a way, because it's like, well, I can say, I don't know, I can forgive the guy, and it's like, you're not a black man. I'm not a black man. His words didn't have the effect on me that they had on many other people, and so you have to be sensitive to that. And then also there is that part of it too, where there's a little bit of, if he can entertain me on TV for wrestling, what do I care what he does in his personal life? What do I care if he thinks that way? What do I care if he even says those things? Like, I'm not saying I feel that way, but there's certainly a measure of like, you have that kind of thought sometimes. We deal with that with our football teams. The Eagles had to deal with that when they brought him in to go, well, he's a good quarterback though. Vic killed dogs and it was horrible. Like what he did, it was really horrible, but he tried to atone and he's going to help the team win. Do you just stop cheering for the team? So you're presented with these like moral quandaries, like a lot of times with this stuff. Like, I like wrestling. Like, I like the things he's contributed to wrestling. I like to watch old stuff, like his match with The Rock at WrestleMania 18 and kind of the crowd, how they get into it and how they turn for him, or the NWO. I'm a huge NWO mark. Sting's career to me was basically made by everything they did with Hogan. For me, and maybe that's not possible without Hogan and the NWO. And so it's like, what do I do with that? How do you square those things away? And
especially watching old stuff, it becomes, this debate comes up every time we do anything with fucking Benoit or anything with history on the goddamn site. This argument comes up in the comments.
It did, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know.
Radical
I mean,
showed up in
everybody's
Yeah.
got to decide how you separate the art from the artist, and what's already happened and how you reacted to that in the moment. I mean, I that's why I stay out of all those, is because I don't know what the answer is even for myself. So I'm not going to try to tell anybody else how to process it.
And it's also why fame is such a weird thing, like
Oh, absolutely.
It's
And
why I get so
and
uncomfortable.
current society's obsession with celebrity and like that being the most important thing, and it's very weird.
Maybe it's part of why I'm as open as I am about stuff, because like people, the few times that like people revere us and they put us on this weird pedestal of like, you guys are a big deal in some way, where no, please don't. I am a deeply flawed individual mentally, I'm a wreck. Like, let me be clear. Like I've spoken on it many times. Like I'd be okay with speaking on it again. This isn't the forum for it right now. And we're way over time, but like, I
think a lot of times, I mean, yeah, this is a whole different can of worms, but a lot of times that's why, you are put on a pedestal too, though, is that you do talk about it. So that's
true. I guess
I mean, are not put on a pedestal, but a lot of people look up to you and relate to you because you're open about what you've struggled with, and you haven't pretended like you're some, perfect person. Who
I've had mental health issues most of my life. I've with depression. I have anxiety with panic disorder. That's diagnosed. It's horrible. It's awful. I've been on the brink of very bad things, and not that long ago. Like I've flirted with suicide. Like I can admit to that, as awful as it is, as much as it sucks. Like, and I don't know. It makes me really uncomfortable to think that people are like, oh, Geno's like, he's something more, or like he's so great, or he's all this. Like, man, I'm really not. Like, I'm no different than you. I can't get my shit together. Like, it's together enough, And I was talking to a friend of mine today where it was like, hey, it's pretty cool to be successful in the way that I'm successful despite those things. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a rough trip, and here we are. But there are things in my past and your past that people could know and hold against us and be like, fuck those guys. And like, that's what we're doing with Hulk in that way. In a way, you're not going to find an audio of me like saying the shit that he said. I'm not that guy, but you could find some stuff from my past and be like, what the fuck? You could do that with you. You could do that with most people. I feel if you lay all their sins out to bear, I feel like most people would hate everyone else. And it's how fair is that? So I struggle with that stuff a lot when this stuff comes up. So they did mention Hogan, and I don't know. I don't know how the hell I'm going to feel when he shows up. I guess it's big to forgive. It's kind of big, right? Like to be like, you know what, you fucked up, but that's okay. Because fuck, man, we're all fucking up, kind of. Right? I guess. I don't know.
I guess, yeah. I mean, like I said, I think I don't know. I mean, the bottom line really with him too is I'm just not looking forward to. I wasn't really enjoying anything. I don't get excited when I haven't enjoyed Shawn Michaels' last couple of visits because they're just they're just sort of masturbatory, and that's what we're gonna get when Hogan comes back. We're not gonna get this great angle. We're gonna get him coming out saying Silverdome.
I kind of hope not. I wonder if they'll bring him back, but they won't send him out to do a promo, because that could be dangerous.
Oh, I think it'll be a while. I think first he'll show up at he'll show up at the they're not idiots. They're pretty good with PR. They'll roll it out gradually, but I think at some point they're probably going to try to do that again. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll just sort of mend fences for like the website, and he'll show up at the Hall of Fame and sit in the crowd, but they won't put him on stage. I don't know.
Do a Legends deal and treat him like they treat Shawn Michaels, maybe even.
Yeah, I mean, I would if they bring him back, I'd be pretty surprised if they don't try to get him on pre-shows and stuff. But I don't know. We'll see.
So he can call Peter Rosenberg a mark.
Yep, that's what everybody on the pre-show does. So,
all right. Well, try to be better, everybody. Try not to let your shortcomings define you, I guess. And right.
Huh?
It'd be a bad time to sing out "Go fuck yourselves," where I'm like, "Hey, we all struggle with issues. Like, go fuck yourself."
We can all go fuck ourselves included. So it's we're gonna go fuck ourselves right now.
Off we go to fuck ourselves.